We were awoken by some lovely city roosters. And I kind of packed my keys in my sleeping bag, and I had to dig them out after packing everything onto the bike. We were all packed up by 7:30, and we went on the hunt for coffee, and somehow I got the lead job for that and failed miserably. And eventually George was like, let's just go to Maleje and we'll have breakfast there. And everybody was like, yes. Carl, Jason, and I decided that we were going to try to find that dirt section that we failed to find on day 3 that would take us from that side of the peninsula to San Ignacio. We had to backtrack a little bit from Maleje because the pump in town was broken. So I bought some extra water because I wanted to make sure that I had enough to drink while we did this big stretch of nothing. Partway to Santa Rosalia, my water bottle popped off the back of the bike and exploded all over the pavement. Jason was right behind me and witnessed the explosion. He pulled up next to me to try to flag me down to tell me what had happened, but there was no place to pull over on the side of the road. There was no shoulder. So I stopped, and he stopped next to me, and behind us, over the hill, came this car that didn't see us and almost smashed into both of us. Carl had pulled up a little bit farther and pulled down into this dirt ditch area, and we pulled up next to him so that Jason could tell us that my water bottle had exploded. Meanwhile, behind us, a popo had pulled down to the ditch too and turned on its lights. Carl saw it first and was like, cop! And I was like, instant flight reflex, go, go, go. So I took off down the road. They followed me. The cops started following us. They weren't chasing us, but their lights were still on. And eventually Carl was like, we have to stop you guys. And I was like, really? So we all pulled over to the side of the road, like one right after the other, because there's still no shoulder. So we're all like sitting on the white line. And this big green truck pulled up next to us. The guys in the truck just talked directly to Carl. And from what Carl could tell, they were just trying to tell us that you can't stop in the middle of the road. You're going to get hit. It's not safe. Then when they realized that we weren't really understanding what they were saying, they just kind of left us alone. And Carl was like, it was the Marines. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. We had got pulled over by the Mexican Marines because my water bottle had popped off my bike. After all of that excitement, we kept going down the road. We found our turnoff that was supposed to lead us to the off-road section. Finally, we were on some dirt. Jason, Carl, and I were racing down this gnarly, rocky road that was just challenging enough to be super fun. And just when I started to get into the swing of things, we came up to what looked like to me a huge river. Carl was like stoked, and I'm over here being like, we're gonna do this? And you know me, I refused to cross without walking it first, and it was definitely deeper than my adventure boots in a couple places. So Carl crossed first, and then Jason, and they did just fine. And I was psyching myself up to do it. And this truck pulled up, and I'm like, of course, when it's my turn, there is an audience. The truck came up and stopped next to me, and I kind of waved them on. They're like trying to get me to go, and I'm like, no, you guys go first. So when they crossed, they stopped and talked to Carl, and Carl tried to explain to them where we were trying to go over the mountain to San Ignacio. And they were like, this is our property. And like, no, the road doesn't go all the way through. And they stopped and talked to Jason, and Jason tried to show them on the GPS where we were trying to go, and they're like, doesn't connect. So after a little bit of discussion, we just decided to go back and take the paved route to San Ignacio. When you don't do laundry for a good 4 days. It's opaque.
With water?
Yes.